So let's talk about the year 2026. Why? Because it's not just another year on the calendar. It's shaping up to be this huge inflection point, a moment where some really powerful new technologies are set to completely rewire how we think about our health, our money, and yeah, even our happiness. And today, we're going to dive right into that convergence. Okay, so why 2026? What is so special about this particular year? Well, it's because the big pillars of our lives, our health, our wealth, and our well-being, they're not just changing by accident. Nope. They're being actively, intentionally reinvented. Let's start with the big idea that's driving this whole thing. The concept at the heart of all this is something called intelligent reinvention. And look, this isn't about making tiny little tweaks here and there. We're talking about using powerful tools like AI and data to consciously design better lives. Moving from a reactive kind of survival mode to a proactive, intentional way of living. Let's kick things off with the first pillar, our health. For decades, the main goal was just to live as long as possible. But now, that entire conversation is flipped. The new frontier isn't just about adding more years to your life, it's about adding more life to your years. This slide just captures that shift perfectly. We're moving away from this obsession with lifespan, the raw number of birthdays, and we're moving towards healthspan. The real question now is, how many of your years are you vibrant, active, and genuinely healthy? That's the new gold standard. And you know what's making this a reality? AI. It's not some distant sci-fi dream anymore. By 2026, it's being rolled out to solve very real problems. Take ambient scribes, for example. It's basically an AI that listens during a doctor's appointment and automates all the boring paperwork, freeing up the doctor to actually focus on you. See, it's not about replacing humans. It's about using AI to handle the complex stuff so that healthcare can become more human again. And the science behind this is just moving at a mind-blowing pace. We've got tools now like epigenetic clocks that can literally measure your biological age. We're developing therapies that can clear out old inflammatory zombie cells. And you've probably heard about the GLP-1 drugs. We're using them to fundamentally reset how our bodies manage energy. This is engineering our health span, and it's happening right now. Okay, so this same drive for reinvention, it's happening with our money too. The systems that manage our wealth are going through their own radical transformation, all thanks to tech that's knocking down old walls and creating totally new kinds of assets. And the backdrop to all of this is a massive, seismic shift in capital. We're talking about an estimated $84 trillion that's in the process of transferring from baby boomers to younger generations. Now, this isn't just a transfer of money, it's a transfer of values. And this new generation of investors, they're demanding financial products that are more digital and have more purpose, and that's forcing the whole industry to change. A key technology making this happen is something called tokenization. And now, don't let the word scare you. The idea is actually pretty simple. You take a real-world asset, like an office building, a piece of art, whatever, and you convert its ownership into digital tokens on a blockchain. What does that mean for you? It means you don't have to be a millionaire anymore to invest in these things. You can own a tiny little fraction. So how does it actually work? Well, it's a pretty straightforward process. A real-world asset gets legally structured, its ownership rules get coded into a smart contract, and then digital tokens are created. And these tokens, they can be traded 24/7 on a digital platform. The end result is that these once exclusive private markets are suddenly becoming way more accessible and dynamic, opening up a whole new world of opportunities. And that brings us to our third and final pillar, the world of work. The shift to remote and hybrid work has been, revolutionary. But it's also created this really fascinating paradox. We're more engaged in our jobs than ever, but at the same time, we're struggling with burnout and this constant draining battle for our own attention. Okay, check out this data because it's super interesting and maybe a little counterintuitive. It turns out that people who work fully remote report the highest levels of engagement with their jobs, but they're actually less likely to be thriving in their overall lives when you compare them to people working in a hybrid model. So it seems like while we absolutely love the freedom of working from home, we still crave some level of real-world face-to-face connection. And this isn't just some abstract idea. People are feeling it. This quote really hits home. Younger generations are actively fighting back against the digital overload. A huge majority of Gen Z are trying to cut down on their screen time. That signals a major cultural shift in how we relate to our tech. All of this soul-searching is fueling new ideas, like career minimalism. It's basically a conscious rejection of that old-school, climb the corporate ladder at all costs mindset. The new goal is to find a job that gives you stability and flexibility. a job that supports a good life instead of becoming your entire life. And this idea fits into an even bigger trend, digital minimalism. The whole philosophy is about flipping the script, using technology as a tool that serves you instead of letting its algorithms control you. And simple things like deleting those attention vampire apps or setting up phone-free zones are becoming mainstream strategies for mental health. So we've got these incredible technologies reinventing our health, our wealth, our work. But what's the common thread? What ties it all together? Well, funny enough, it seems like all this technological progress is really just highlighting a fundamental human need we might have been overlooking: real, genuine connection. The World Happiness Report found something fascinating, a kind of trust paradox. Check this out. Around the world, we consistently and massively underestimate how kind strangers are. Most of us think if we lost our wallet, it's gone for good. But in reality, they get returned about twice as often as we expect. It turns out that just believing other people are good is a huge predictor of our own happiness. But, and this is a big but, at the exact same time, we're facing a crisis of isolation. Even though we're more digitally connected than any generation in history, the simple act of sharing a meal is disappearing. The number of Americans eating alone has skyrocketed by over 50% in just the last couple of decades. And here's why that matters so much. The research is crystal clear. One of the most powerful predictors of happiness is the simple, ancient act of sharing a meal with other people. It's this small, tangible act of connection that has a huge impact on how good we feel about our lives. And that really leaves us with the ultimate question for 2026 and beyond. We are building a world that is undeniably more intelligent, more efficient, more personalized. But as we continue down this path, can we make the conscious choices needed to ensure it also becomes more connected, more trusting, and, in the end, more human?